June 12th, 2020. What did we learn this week? Well, the first A in AARP stands for Antifa. HBO Max is Woke with the Wind. Cops was still on. Hang on to your diapers, babies. I'm the barber. This is the Beta Files.
Goes downstairs and steals Elsa Fox. Why do you take my fox? I didn't know it was there. Yes, you did. She just likes to be lazy, sits all day and watches TV. And she's like, wah, Elsa won't stop. Oh, Elsa, what are you doing up here? No, I haven't seen your fox. Are you sure? Because I see it right behind. No, you don't. Plus, you're so amazing. I had to have my memory erased. I don't remember why. I just did. Here, I'll sprinkle some pixie dust on you. Ah, no. Ah, move on. This is a zombie. Who's her? Who made her dead? Sure, and then I'll fall down. Whee! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 people are on the ground dead.
So we've got a dead mermaid,
No, she's asleep.
an ice princess who's spraying something, and then we've got the lineup of the 4 other dead princesses. Just this weird guy in the kitchen who hasn't moved. A dead fairy.
Oh no, she's asleep.
An unconscious Snow White. And I guess a Cinderella who's cleaning the gutters. I don't know. That is a creeper. I'm not no creeper. I'm just standing in the shadows. In a house full of women.
Now it's time for Dr. J.
No. National media.
Yeah,
Shit.
because one of the things I've noticed this week during this whole crisis is the wonderful spin jobs they're doing. And it's so blatant.
What have you been watching?
I've been watching all kinds of stuff. I watched little Fox News. I watched little CNN. I haven't watched MSNBC because I didn't want to get pissed off. Now I know that's ironic because I watched Fox News But the thing is, the stuff that I watched on Fox News, I went into it knowing pretty much how they were going to cover it. I just wanted to see it. With CNN, it was by happenstance because we were watching we wanted to see what was going on, and we just happened to go across CNN, and I ended up on Anderson Cooper. And
yes.
did you get a chance to watch the Short Files number 5?
No, but I started watching episode 3 today.
Oh, well, thank you, sir.
What's the short files number 5?
Short Files number 5, I basically break down Monday night's Anderson Cooper 360 because as soon as it went off, I ran in here and started taping so I could get it before I forgot it.
Was it good?
What I did was broke it down rhetorically and explained what he did, when he did it, and how he did it.
Was it biased?
Anderson Cooper, yes.
Anderson Cooper?
It was so blatant. And I was sitting there, we were watching it, and I was like, I got to do something because this is what I teach in class.
That's not what he normally does, though.
I know. That's what was surprising, and that's why I wanted to do it like that quickly and so bad because I knew that this is not the norm. Cooper doesn't do this stuff that often. But he was like, yeah, you go watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Well, you've got the ethical question. In a time like this, the ethical question is there a moment when it's okay for journalists to exercise political bias?
No.
If it were so if it's 1940 in Germany,
oh,
does a journalist have an obligation to be political? And I'd say the answer is yes. Murrow got political.
Well, yeah.
Murrow was trying to take down McCarthy.
Yeah, Murrow didn't really get political. What Murrow did was he went after the institution of McCarthyism.
He had an agenda.
Yeah.
And thankfully, he succeeded. So that begs the question, in times of extreme crisis, are journalists obliged to choose a side? And what happens if they don't?
Well, so what I
record this information. We can do this.
We're recording. I'm not even going to worry about it. We're going. It's time for Dr. J. There, we got it.
Now it's time for Dr. J. Anyway, go ahead.
What I did, yeah, when you go and watch it, what I'm doing is showing you, just breaking down how he's building his narrative and how he's actually twisting it to his political gain. So I would answer your question with 2 answers. Yes, there is an obligation to do that. But there is a line, and what our national media has done this week has crossed that line.
They're not just presenting facts anymore to prove that the other side is moronic.
Exactly.
They're interpreting the facts.
Yep. Have you been watching any of it? Like I said, I haven't watched MSNBC because I knew I would get pissed off. And let me just clarify for those out there who are watching this. I'm not a conservative.
No.
So, but
Rachel,
when you talk about spin machines, you've got, okay, so this is my right hand. Even though it's on the left. Well, we'll do this. So it'll be on.
You're right. That's right.
This is right. Okay. So
no, that's left. There you go.
All right.
Right.
Here's your Fox News on the right. Here's your MSC on the left. CNN's like out here.
NPR is.
somewhere, I would say about right here, center left.
Center left. Yeah.
Yeah, center left. And and MSNBC actually has gotten so good at spin. They've gotten better than Fox News. Fox News is almost a comedy show sometimes. But MSNBC has gotten so good at spin that people will, at the top of their lungs, defend Maddow and Hayes and
It used to be Oberman.
Huh?
It used to be Oberman.
I know.
And Morning Joe is their attempt to look like they're unbiased.
Yeah, but the thing is
he's just as liberal as everybody else.
I know. Well, he's got Mika sitting right there shooting the stank face the whole time.
I mean, I like Joe Scarborough a lot, and I think he's probably a moderate, but he's in a position where he's going to sound more liberal than he probably is because of the co-hosts he had.
Yeah.
And he's so angry.
Yeah. I will tell you,
angry.
Some of the best op-eds in the Washington Post are written by Joe Scarborough.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
He's absolutely wonderful. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know, but when I watch, and I'm a Marxist. I'm pretty far out there. But when I watch someone like Rachel Maddow, my blood starts to boil. It's just like, you're not even trying. You're not even trying, right? I mean, Murrow had an agenda, and he was doing it to save the country.
And see, that's the thing, and that's what I wanted to articulate something like that, but I couldn't figure out how to do it when you were talking about Murrow.
But he does it by saying, here's the argument.
Yeah.
Here are all the facts.
Yeah.
This is exactly what's going on. Now, what do we do?
Yeah.
Opposed to Maddow, who just starts by twisting facts.
Right, which is what Hannity does.
Yes.
And that's what
does Hannity start out with facts?
Well, they're facts to him.
See, I don't know.
Same thing. You
I
say
don't know that
about
they
Maddow. Maddow starts off with facts to her. I mean, anybody, this is one of the problems with the internet now. You can go out and get whatever facts you want.
Yep.
Just Google it.
I told you, overseas in the UK, newspapers are fairly openly political.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows it. They're not hiding it. They come out and say it, so it's okay. What makes American media so problematic is they will tell you to your face, we're objective. Or in Fox's case, fair and balanced. I don't even think they say that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. No, they dropped that in like the 2000s.
and I think honestly that it's a question of I don't know why they hide it the way they do. And then one of my brother-in-law, as a matter of fact, got into it with his my wife's conservative cousins and uncle about what happened on the steps of the church.
Uh-huh.
Dispersing the peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
And what really irritates me about that, and I'll just go and get this out there, it was an Episcopal church, dude.
I know.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to go there with your conservative agenda and use the Episcopal church and wave a Bible around. You've gone to the wrong church.
Well, no,
that is the only Bible near that church, I can assure you.
And I pointed out in the short files when I was talking about that, I was like, because Anderson Cooper had the Archbishop of the diocese on that night. Less than an hour after it happened, he had her on the phone.
Yeah, the bishop of the diocese.
And I pointed out, I was like, so he goes to the church that's run by a woman, no less. Yeah. There's no irony there at all.
I don't know how liberal that church is, but I'm sure the bishop of the diocese is pretty left.
Yeah. Well, it's a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, we like that. We like ordaining women.
Yeah. There are a lot of Southern Baptists that probably curled their toes when they saw that.
Sure.
Well, they need Trump over there just so they can straighten their shit out.
They got into it over this issue, and he pointed out that one of the people that they dispersed was a priest.
Yeah.
And how these
Yeah,
were
he was out there giving alms or something, right?
He was, I don't know what he was doing, because I haven't seen the footage, but my wife's cousin didn't believe it because it wasn't on Fox News.
Yeah.
And they were trying to convince my brother-in-law that he needed to watch Fox News. And he said, I watch all of them. But he said, but I've seen the video. And the journalists actually recorded. But that's not enough for my wife's cousin. He will not trust it unless he sees it on Fox News. This is willful ignorance. And what Fox News has done and MSNBC has done is they have duped an audience into believing that they're right and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah.
And they've done it by saying we're objective.
Yeah.
And I know they're not objective, and I know that because whenever I watch Fox, I get angry.
Yeah.
And whenever I watch a more liberal news outlet, I'm like, that's right. And then I stop myself and say, okay, why do I like this so much?
Uh-huh.
You know, unless if I watch NewsHour, and I've talked about NewsHour before on PBS, it's boring because they're just telling you this is the stuff that happened.
It's supposed to be boring. It's the
Yes.
freaking news.
Yes, because it's not sensationalized.
Yeah.
It's not. So all of my experience with what's going on right now is through the lens of NPR and BBC. That's it. No, I don't know. It's so good though. I want barbecue right now. And corn nuggets. If you've never had them, man, they're all over the mountains. It's good stuff.
Check it out.
It's great.
All right. Let's wrap it up. This has been the Dr. J show. This has been the Optic Poet with Dr. J. We'll do this again next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you, bud.
See ya.
Now it's time for Dr. J.
The topic? Facebook. Socialist yard sale or evangelical pity party? The answer tonight on Now See This Here Now Then. Hello, I'm Richard Cranium. Tonight we look at the greatest threat to human life, the impending asteroid that will trigger the overdue eruption of the supervolcano under Yellowstone, leading to the complete collapse of Western civilization and the rise of Mad Max. That's right, I'm talking about Facebook. In the entire history of the last 10 years, no single company has created an addictive yet completely polarizing product that can sway elections, celebrity popularity, and taco restaurant patronage, like Facebook. And they did it all without having to add cocaine. But first, have you ever felt like you just shouldn't eat that cupcake? Or had to turn down a piece of pie fresh out of the oven because it just didn't seem appealing at the time? Or maybe halfway through that fourth trip to the pizza bar, you realize that one more slice would be just too much. Well, there is nothing wrong with you. According to a new study by scientists at the Golden Corral, the feeling is one of having already consumed the exact amount of food your body will tolerate. Well, that's one less thing I have to confess to the Holy Father. I feel much better. Thank you, Golden Corral. We will miss you. The Book of Faces. It was once sold as the place for community connections you didn't realize you were missing. A platform for posting millions of hours of pet movies and thousands of pictures of food. It seemed perfect, a utopia. But then Americans happened. The platform, originally built so a shy, reclusive, socially awkward super nerd could get chicks, has turned into the poster child of just how disgusting people can be with each other, while selling the same people their unwanted crap they're too lazy to carry to Goodwill. The most disconcerting thing about the tweet book is the privacy issue. In order to openly engage with this method of social distancing, we must first openly submit a large chunk of private pieces of our lives. For some idiotic reason, we do so willingly, so we don't feel left behind like Kirk Cameron in that movie where everyone on Facegram disappeared to tweet with Jesus, leaving everyone else left to use Tumblr and LinkedIn. A true apocalyptic nightmare, to be sure. The issue actually isn't that we give the information up, but that FaceTube isn't really transparent to what they do with all of that information. Observe Exhibit A.
Facebook has detailed profiles on people who have never signed up for Facebook, yes or no?
Congressman, in general, we collect data of people who have not signed up for Facebook for security purposes to prevent the kind of scraping that you were just referring to.
So these are called shadow profiles? Is that what they've been referred to by some?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that.
I'll refer to them as shadow profiles for today's hearing. On average, how many data points does Facebook have on each Facebook user?
I do not know off the top of my head.
So the average for non-Facebook platforms is 1,500. It's been reported that Facebook has as many as 29,000 data points for an average Facebook user. Do you know how many points of data that Facebook has on the average non-Facebook user?
Congressman, I do not off the top of my head, but I can have our team get back to you afterwards.
I appreciate that. It's been admitted by Facebook that you do collect data points on non-average users. So my question is, can someone who does not have a Facebook account opt out of Facebook's involuntary data collection?
Congressman, anyone can turn off and opt out of any data collection for ads, whether they use our services or not. But in order to prevent people from scraping public information, which again, the search feature that you brought up only showed public information, people's names and profiles and things that they'd made public, but nonetheless, we don't want people aggregating even public information.
But
we so block that. So we need to know when someone is trying to repeatedly access our services.
If I may, Mr. Zuckerberg, I'm about out of time. It may surprise you that we've not talked about this a lot today. You've said everyone controls their data, but you're collecting data on people that are not even Facebook users, that have never signed a privacy agreement, and you're collecting their data. And it may surprise you that on Facebook's page, when you go to I don't have a Facebook account and would like to request all my personal data stored by Facebook, it takes you to a form that says go to your Facebook page, and then on your account settings, you can download your data. So you're directing people that don't have access, don't even have a Facebook page, to have to sign up for a page to release their data. We've got to fix that.
That, boys and girls, was a robot. What concerns myself and many others is not that they will willingly not tell us where the information is and what they're going to do with it later, but that it is being sold behind the scenes to advertisers, political action groups, and other technology companies so they can in turn target you and I in every way imaginable. Take, for example, the current face-based algorithm that they claim they have adjusted. It prioritizes what shows up on your news feed so that if you're a solid liberal who has a history of reading largely left-leaning posts, they will prioritize people in your feed who have done the same. And of course, they do the same thing with the right-leaning users of the Instabook. The larger issue that comes from this social isolation in the vacuum of your news feed is that political ideology takes precedence over everything. People will isolate and ghost one another over one small ideological disagreement. Where the nastiness comes into play is our need to friend everyone we meet, not so we can actually be friends, but so we can see what kind of person they really are. If they clash with our little realm of reality, we start to criticize them openly in a public forum. We troll them. And for what purpose? And then there are the real trolls. Observe Exhibit B.
Social distance. After hitting publish, he could leave his computer, go make dinner, and not have to look Anita in the face. Because the communication takes place in a virtual space, It's easy for many internet users to convince themselves that the people, the subject matter, and even in some cases their own actions are somehow not real. Another key feature of online communication is performance. We tailor our words and expressions with an audience in mind. The misogynists attacking Anita Sarkeesian were doing so, at least in part, to draw a reaction from an audience. The Beat Up Anita Sarkeesian game was an interactive performance. The creator vividly staged his own views and invited players to get up on stage with him. Finally, at least so far, the internet has largely been a consequence-free zone. Law enforcement's use of the internet has mainly been directed toward piracy, terrorism, and child pornography. And only very recently have they really begun to investigate things like online harassment, hate speech, and death threats. But I'm not just talking about a lack of state-sanctioned consequences here, which, let's face it, tend not to apply to everyone equally, and in many cases actually have the effect of making things worse. I'm also talking about a lack of social consequences, like maybe facing a torrent of criticism for your garbage behavior. A dominant wisdom that says, "Don't feed the trolls," means that many misogynists and other bigots never have to face their critics, because their critics are encouraged to shut up. Not only does this mean that they can continue their behavior with impunity, but it gives them the impression that their views are popular.
I believe the phrase, "a bridge too far," would be considered a bad pun. Maybe. Troll culture is, as we all know, as toxic as a Kirk Cameron God film. And it is addictive because Snapbook has programmed us to stay in our respective news feeds, and anyone who crosses in should be openly marked and destroyed. Virtually, of course. It's also extremely easy to hide behind a computer screen for all of us. I mean, look at me. I'm hiding behind a middle-aged mixture of John Oliver, a very bad Walter Cronkite, all with a hint of a drunken Dudley Moore on YouTube. And that is what makes social media as a whole so enticing. We are able to hide behind creations of our imagination. Reminds me of something my wife Vacant told me the other day when she said, "Richard, I loathe you." That woman is my passion. But I think the ultimate issue with FaceChan lies with how deep it has penetrated our lives. Those of us who are on it are bound by the rules of egotism and curiosity to constantly check it for updates on something meaningless that we have posted. There's no possible way that we are all that interesting. Yet we feel the need to make ourselves appear more interesting, more active, more intelligent than we actually are. Social media as a whole feeds off of all of our insecurities, troll and non-troll alike. We all want the same thing, to be noticed, to be desired. Facebook, in its ultimate flaw, exploits those needs, capitalizes off of them, and then destroys them. The Facebook will not go away anytime soon. Neither will the toxicity of its relationship models. Its counterparts are not going anywhere either, and for that we are doomed. I joked about Armageddon earlier, but maybe the Four Horsemen have already arrived, and they have set up camp on every social platform out there. Maybe those silly Kirk Cameron God movies were metaphorically predicting the social media age and what it would ultimately do: divide us. That, my dear friends, is Facebook's real crime. That is all for tonight. Join us next week when we discuss empty notebooks, socialist diaries, or evangelical paths to Satan. You decide. For now, I am Richard Cranium. Ta-ta. That's it for the BetaFiles on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this extremely short run as we move to relaunching the BetaFiles podcast, which you'll be able to see and hear right here on YouTube twice a week with new episodes every Wednesday and Friday. For a complete schedule of all our programs, check out our website, thebetafiles.com, and you can find us on Instagram as @thebetafile. Schedules on both. If you liked what you saw, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. For Dr. J, I am the barber. Make it a great day, and always remember, the sun comes up, there's opportunity. So take it. This has been the Beta Files.